What is happening, everyone? My name is Phil with Think Make Do, and today we are in my warehouse shop, and I'm going to be starting work on a little side project. This is going to be a floating, what do they call that? A floating TV stand. So I recently moved into a new apartment and I have my TV mounted on the wall. And I've got like this IKEA thing for the furniture stand, the TV stand. I want a nice extra long floating one that really makes the living room pop. So let me take a look here and bring you over to look at how we're gonna design this thing. Now, I don't have anything in SketchUp for this. I'm just gonna go with some basics here. Now, I know that my sound receiver, that's not very good. So my receiver at a minimum is 18 inches, right? So if we try to draw this three-dimensionally, okay. You get the idea, right? Yeah, okay, that's 3 dimensions, right? So this dimension here has to be at least 18, so we'll probably go with 20. The height, I think 12 inches would be good. Actually, it might be best to provide enough, well, how big is a vinyl? Well, we'll start with 12 inches for now, for this. And I think 96 inches or 8 feet is what we're going for, so on the length. Now the unique thing about this, it's going to be 3 partitions. So we're going to have a wall here and a wall here. So the idea being the TV stand, or the receiver, is going to sit in here, right? That is my awesome receiver. And then these are going to be sliding drawers. So there's going to be a hole here. This is going to slide back and forth. And this is going to slide back and forth on rails built in to the top and the bottom piece, right? So it's gonna have a wall on the interior here, like that. Cool, makes sense. The first thing I need to do is I need to establish the bottom. I think for the sliders, I'm not going to recess. Typically when you build a slider, say this is your piece of material, most carpenters will design in a recess using what they call a dado blade. Well, I don't have a dado blade. So instead of making this recess, and for a different view, that recess would look like this, right? And then your cabinet face would sit here inside the recess to slide back and forth. I'm not going to be that advanced with this one, mostly because I just don't care enough. Instead, I am going to, that's going to be the bottom, I'm going to put a small piece of 3/4 by 3/4 channel here and 3/4 by 3/4 channel there. It's going to slide up and down, or it's going to slide across in this raised channel as opposed to this recessed channel. This is more pro. I'm going with this just because I just don't have the tools to make this thing look really nice. So we are going to first cut the top and the bottom, get my 2 sides and my back. Oh yeah, for the back, so the side view, the back is going to be recessed just a little bit, maybe like 1/2 inch recessed this way. And that's because I'm going to use a French cleat on the back end. So that means I'm going to have a 3/4 piece cut like this, and on the wall I'm going to have my other 3/4 piece on the wall, and then the whole thing is going to sit onto the French cleat onto the wall. French cleat is something that's very popular for, I guess, wall mount installations. So Google that if you need more information on how this works. You'll end up seeing it later on in this video, but sometimes it's easier to see it not from this hand-drawn diagram, but you know, from something a little bit more professional. cuts with me. These are my, yeah, those are the interiors. So we have our outside edges, right? Assuming this is the front, these interiors are a little bit shorter, if you can tell, because they have to account for the 3/4 gap that's going to go here for the French cleat, and then the 3/4 of the actual piece of wood in the back, and then you have your separation dividers for the two sections. There we go. Clearly some of this is flatter than the others. All right, let's see if we can mop this up here. Okay, this is actually fairly large. This is 80 inches is what I went with, which is nearly the entire length of this work table. Let's see what we got. Okay, something like that. Something like this. And then obviously you have your top. Yeah. Now, the biggest concern with this is, because I've cut this all, I wouldn't say exactly freehand, but close to freehand. My table saw is not the greatest, right? I only have a square that goes to 11 inches. These are all 12-inch cuts, so whatever. The point is, everything's not perfect. I don't have a planer to square an edge and then make a perfect cut. So this is gonna be a little dicey, but I'm okay with that because, I mean, not everybody has all the kinds of stuff, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the bottom first. I bought these, I don't know, these Amazon 90-degree angle clamps. So I'm at least gonna have straight corners. I will get the bottom, the outsides glued and screwed. And for that, I also bought a little, where is it? Whatever, it's a little drill with a countersink bit to allow me to get these screws in all the way down. So when I find it, I'll show it to you. Here it is. I got a number 6. I'm pretty sure this is a number 8, but I usually don't even pre-drill. So the fact that I am pre-drilling with the countersink, I'm pretty sure this is not going to strip and it should be just fine. So let's at least put the bottom on, and we'll get the bottom, the outsides, the back plate, and then we'll figure out the dimension for where these walls are going to go. And then I'll have to think about how I'm going to apply the Formica, the Black Formica, on the outsides of this before I then apply this back plate and the top. I may want to Formica the inside, I might not. I actually might just stain the inside. Obviously I haven't thought all the way through, neither will you if you're doing this for the first time, so just kind of think this through with me as we go, all right? My piece is dry, so our TV stand is now ready for the next section, which is determining the size of our central cabinet. That is going to be 24 inches. I went home and measured my receiver. It's 16 inches, so I'll have 4 inches on each side. That's pretty good clearance. And then what I actually decided to do, because this space is so large just for one receiver, I'm gonna add about a 3-inch shelf. And that's gonna be a pull-out drawer at the bottom for me to hide my remotes, random knickknacks and cables and cords, beyond the 2 storage cabinets I have on the side. Anyway, let's figure out where we're gonna put these, get these screwed down, make a piece of wood here for our platform, and continue on with the build. Let's go. We're gonna have to pause here for the night because I have to wait for all this stuff to glue up before I can move on to the next step, which is sanding and laminate. Now, what you'll notice is I didn't actually fully attach this thing right here, this shelf, and that's because I think I'm gonna laminate the top surface of this shelf just to give it a nice black uniform surface for the receiver to sit on. I think that'll look nice, and I haven't quite decided yet if I want to use little risers here to have this sit down, or if I want to screw in from the sides and to secure this shelf in place. So I will think about that and then figure it out later. I've got the top on, so it's nice and secure. And what I've done is I've mixed up some sawdust and some wood glue, and I filled in all my screw holes. Now, it doesn't have to be that pretty. I'm going to sand it all down, but when I put the Formica on top, when I'm pressing the Formica on, I don't want there to be any chance that there's like these little divots in the Formica layer, making it pretty evident where the screw holes are. So that's what this sawdust is for. In any other case, you can use this same technique to cover up your screw holes, or you can use dowel pins. Actually, I'm pretty sure dowel pins are better, but sawdust always works. That's also why I'm using kind of the ugly surface for the top here, because Formica's gonna go on top. And then I saved, if you look underneath, the bottom surface is actually much nicer looking. So when I stain it, hopefully the grain pops out. One mistake I made, when I made these cuts, I followed the grain vertically, but the grain should have gone horizontally. Everything else about this build, the grain is horizontal. This side horizontal, this side vertical. So when I stain it, it'll be pretty obvious that this was the wrong way, but you live and you learn, I guess. So anyway, we're gonna let this dry and we'll catch you on the next one.